What's going on, everybody? Josh White here, and today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. My usual drawing videos are kind of a time-lapse recording where you just kind of chill back and watch what I do, but this time I'm actually going to teach you a little step-by-step process into how to draw a dragon. I've never really done any of these kind of little tutorial videos, but if I figured, what the heck, let's give it a shot. It's going to be pretty straightforward. It's going to be a kind of a basic understanding of like a European style dragon. But yeah, you'll learn how to draw a dragon, and it's gonna be a dragon that doesn't suck, okay? So we're gonna start off with the head. That's what I usually do. So we're gonna go with a basic shape here. This would be like this is a rhombus. All right, it's not a square, but like a rhombus. All right, this is gonna be the head. Okay, so then from there, we're gonna move down into the neck. So the neck, we're just gonna make kind of like a basic S shape. Like this, a reverse S shape, and then you're going to connect here like this. Okay, so you got your neck, and then I just kind of end it like that. So I like breaking it down kind of like body part by body part. So head, neck, then you do the base of the body here. So we're going to come in here, continue along this curve. We're gonna do the chest cavity and like rib cage. So it's gonna be a little bit thicker there. It's gonna come up into the stomach and then down into the pelvis like that. So again, kind of this whole swooping shape here. All right, and then come here to the back. Feel like a little bit of a arch to the back. And obviously with any sort of animals, creatures, whatever, humans you're doing, you want to know basic anatomy. My anatomy, well, I mean, I've been drawing my whole life, so I kind of, have enough experience of just kind of looking at, images and breaking them down to understand anatomy. But I've been into bodybuilding more than half my life, so that also helps with me understanding anatomy, because that's all bodybuilding is about, is the way your muscles tie into each other, the shape, separation, how shredded you are, all that kind of jazz. All right, so it's gonna be thicker here because that's like your rib cage area, right? And then it's gonna thin out a little bit as we get to the hip and the pelvis region. So we're just gonna do basic shape like that. It's pretty easy. And then we're going to kind of, again, you want to always keep like the flow of the shape. So for the tail, we're gonna extend that shape down, come here like this, and we'll just curve the tail up a little bit. Again, be loose with it. It's your initial sketch. Be light and loose with it. Then continue the tail. So the pelvis, your little bone there, it's gonna stick out a little bit, and then it's gonna come back up into the tail. And then, obviously, as the tail comes to an end, it comes to a point, so it's gonna get thinner as the tail goes on. Now, I mean, if you want to get like crazier designs and stuff, then you don't have to follow that sort of standard practice, but you can make like a big fat tail or give it tons of spikes, whatever. We'll get to that when we get to it. But this is just a general design of a dragon that you can build upon however you want after. We're just gonna get the basics down. So that's kind of what we got right now. All right, pretty simple. So now we're gonna go into right here, about here, because think of this as like a collarbone. So that's where the neck ends. There's your collarbone. So this would be like your pecs, ribs. So we're gonna do the delts, your shoulders, your delts, and then we're going to. So again, if you know human anatomy, you can kind of get the basics of something like a make believe like a dragon. So do basic shape like that. Bring that arm back. It's kind of like the tricep right here. And then you're gonna have your forearm. So again, just like a person, like your arm's gonna be thicker at the top versus the bottom, typically, unless you have some freaking crazy huge muscles. Forearm here, bulkier here towards the the base of the forearm, and it's going to thin out into the wrist, like that. And then, so that's your forearm. Then you put your hand down here, and then just a general claw shape like that. We're not gonna worry about too much of the details yet. This is just the initial skeleton that we're kind of doing here. So then we're gonna go into the hind legs and kind of get it, basically put it here right at the end where the tail starts and the pelvis ends, right there. Big meaty thigh, like that. So this is where your kneecap would be. And think of this as your shin. So draw a little calf muscle there, like that. And bring that down, same thing as here. Kind of make sure it's lines up as well. Draw your claw. All right. Pretty basic, all right? Pretty straightforward. And then, so like I said, this is gonna be a dragon, so we're gonna put the wing on it, the European style dragon. So the way the wing will go, wings are basically the same thing as what the arm is. So it starts off like a shoulder joint, then it goes to the upper arm, then you have your forearm, and then if you look at a wing, it's basically just like your hand. So like, I don't even know how to zoom out, but whatever. So the top claw here, and then each kind of finger would be elongated into the actual wing, and then in between, like think of it like webs, that would be the membrane of the wings. So you just kind of do the same thing. Just look at it, just think of it as like a human arm and everything. So you're gonna keep the shoulder there, and then we're gonna extend into basically what would be the upper arm of the wing. So it's gonna be a little bit thicker at the base there. Okay, and then we're gonna come up here, would be like the forearm. And the same thing. It's just gonna be like an elongated, skinny version of this arm. So there's the upper arm, right? Then you have your forearm. Again, bigger here, thins out a little bit as we go up higher. And then this would be, you can, there's like no one way to draw like the talons or anything on a wing. Like you could just get as crazy with it as you want. We're just gonna do a basic dragon wing. So there would be like the thumb, right? And then your fingers would come down. This would be like your pointer finger, right? And then let's say this is gonna be your middle finger, ring finger, pinky finger, right? So this one's gonna be the longest and typically the thickest one here. So we're gonna keep the thickness about the same until we get down to the end, the point, and they'll thin out. And these are all gonna attach here, but I'm not gonna make them the same thickness. I'm gonna change that up a little bit. You can if you want, it's up to you. If you want them to all be kind of a similar thickness, but that's not what I'm doing, all right? So now we're gonna draw the membrane. So this, just do some little squigglies. Some little cuts and everything in the membrane. Bring it up. Just kind of random with it. And then the membrane will kind of tie down here into kind of like, this would be your lat, right? Your latissimus. And then the membrane can kind of just tie right into there in between the forelimb and the hind limb, just like that. All right, so that's kind of the basic, skeletal structure that we're gonna be using. And then from here, after you get that kind of basics down, you can kind of have fun with it, and then that's when you kind of throw in whatever kind of accessories or design things you want. Crazy spikes, you know, scales, armor, whatever. You could, once you get this down, you can play with the anatomy, make it, you know, bulkier, skinnier, you know, whatever type of, you know, dragon you're going for. Let me just erase some of that stuff there. So, like that. All right, cool beans. All right, so all right, let's add a little bit of detail to it. Let's see. So what do we want to do here? Again, there's no one typical way to draw a dragon. It's whatever you want. You know, just be creative with it. Look at other animal designs, whatever you want to incorporate in. You want it to be more bird-like. Give it a beak. You know, you could do this just a typical, you know, just give it like regular style horns like this. If you just want to go that route, you know, do whatever you want with it. It's your design, all right? This is your world, all right? We're just living in it. So you can give it basic horns like that if you want. You know, just decide whatever you want to do. We're just gonna go, like I said, this is gonna kind of be a generic, just a generic dragon. So we're gonna go down to the snout here. I'm gonna make it a little bit longer. And I'm gonna make it into more like a beak type of thing, a little bit more pointy. So carry into the jaw here, like that. And then the chin. And then this is gonna be his, the back of his jaw here. So we're gonna make it a little bit more bulky there, because that's where the muscle is. We're gonna bite down. Eat shit, all right? I need a new one of these, all right? This thing's old and worn out. All right, so there we go. Like so, all right, pretty simple. And then typically you would do, it has like an underbelly, like you have scales on an underbelly, right? So we'll just take this line here to represent the separation between the back of its scales versus the underbelly. Like if you think of like a snake or something, and just carry it down like that. Typically, this part would be thicker than this part. The underbelly usually covers up less surface area. So as you can see here, this is thinner distance between there to there. That's another thing about drawing. If you like, when you look at an image, learn to break it down by like judging, you know, measurements, distance, things like that. Like what are the proportions? Like how far is, like, you know, what's the length of the tail compared to the body? Like things like that really help you when it comes to learning how to replicate something. That's all art really is. It's not some magic thing you're really, where somebody's just born and they're just so much better. It's like, no, it's the most important skill you can have to become a good artist is using your eyes, learning how to use your eyes to break an image down and replicate it. Anybody can do that. It's just something you have to practice and learn how to do. Just study. Analyze. If you can analyze, then you can draw. Just break it down. Break down the shapes. You know, how thick is this compared to this? You know, everything like that. Where are the proportions? That's all it really is. Anybody can learn how to replicate what they see. The only thing you're kind of more so born with is like creativity and imagination. Like that's a lot harder to teach. So, all right, so we'll do the underbelly, then again, we'll continue it here. So it'll come up underneath the lat like that. And then again, come down here, and it's gonna be thinner than this section. And then just go ahead and just let it fade into the tail. And I'm smearing a little bit, but whatever. All right, so now it's starting to look like a dragon, all right? Cool. Then you can kind of get in here a little bit more detailed, start adding more like separation. So your quad versus your hamstring, right? Add a little bit more shape there to the kneecap. Put a little muscle there to the calf. Like that. Just kind of fleshing it out a little bit more. All right, and then let's go ahead, let's put the eye in here, and the nose, or the nostril. That. So there's two kind of basic lines. It's going to be kind of like the eyebrow ridge there, right? And this is kind of like the cheekbone. And we'll just put the eye right there in between, and then kind of give it a little bit of darkness there, like an eye socket, like it's sunken in a little bit, right? Don't really need to give him any teeth because that's not what I'm going for here. You can give him crazy teeth if you want. And again, this is your design, your dragon, you throw whatever you want. If you want to give him more like bull horns, you give him bull horns. You know, ram's horns, no horns, feathers, whatever you want. You're a dragon, you do what you want. Typically, easy way to do the underbelly, just throw in these little curved lines, right? Something simple like that. Towards the top of the neck here would be thinner, and then as the body mass gets thicker, you would typically make these lines further apart, all right? And then as you bring it down into the tail, same thing, just continue. These little backward C shapes until it fades away into nothing, all right? And then this is super two-dimensional, right? So we're going to give the impression of the legs behind. So what I like to do, because this is just like a little sketch, I will kind of not add any detail to it because it's further away, and I'll just darken it so I don't have to add any definition or anything. So like that. Just kind of replicate the same shape you see here, but it's going to be slightly smaller because it's further in the distance. So it's going to be obviously not in the same plane as that. It's going to be back a little bit further to show depth. That. Also, just so these aren't so one-dimensional, I will throw in another claw there and the impression of another claw there. Same thing here. Just do that little shape, and now you got three talons there. Now it looks like a, an actual foot, right? And then this back leg, you know what, let's do, we can change up the shape a little bit here, and we'll have this leg kind of coming back a little bit, like it's kind of walking. And then, like I said, what I do is a little cheat. I'm just gonna scribble this here to show that's further behind, and that way I don't have to draw anything on it. It's just a sketch, right? Cool. And then, if you want to get super detailed, you can go into the horns. You could do, just put in little shapes like this. And this is further back. We'll shade that. Just kind of look like it's got some texture, right? Nothing crazy. I'll carry it into the eyebrow ridge. And like I said, if you want to give it crazy spikes, maybe you want to give it kind of like, let's give it kind of like this kind of hair or something. Like a little mane almost. Whatever, you can do whatever you want. Like with that. And if you want to do scales, you can do simple scales. So just basic diamond shapes like that, right? And you could carry that on all the way throughout it if you want to do that. Usually I don't draw scales because it's very tedious. I'll do things that give you like the impression of scales, but typically I do not draw scales. But yeah, you're just in between each one. In between, whatever, and just carry that on through there if you want. Look at fish scales, lizard scales, snake scales, whatever. Do them how you want. Or you can give it more, you can carry in more spikes throughout the sides here, whatever floats your boat, man. It's your dragon. A lot of times you'll see dragons have, this is a super generic way of making it look more intimidating, just adding some spikes to its elbows. You know, that's kind of a standard practice. And then you could just draw these little shapes like that, kind of give that sort of impression of scales, right? You can do something like that. It's a little bit more rugged. Also here on the fingers, we'll give these kind of shapes like that. I don't know if they're classified as scales, but if you look like a bird's feet, I don't know what they'd be classified as, but just something simple like that. If you want, you can throw in some more muscle definition. Again, carry the scales into here if you want. You could throw some spikes here on the leg, right? Like that. Some scales like that. So like obviously like this doesn't match that, so I would not keep those scales. That was just kind of me showing you, but yeah, that doesn't really match. So instead I would probably do some sort of, let's put some of these spikes right here. So let's start here. We'll start off with a smaller one at the base, and as it goes down, spikes will get a little bit longer and then fade like that. Just to kind of carry on the same sort of design throughout. And then you can get to the tail here. Whatever you want. Give it some just basic spikes. They can get longer if you want as the tail goes on, or you can get smaller. Whatever, doesn't matter. Whatever floats your boat, man. Whatever floats your boat. But yeah, that's kind of a basic dragon design there. And then, like I said, once you get this understanding down, then you can kind of do whatever you want with it. You can make the wings smaller, bigger. You can make the neck, you know, play with the proportions, make it thicker, make it a bulkier dragon, shorter legs, you know. But once you get the understanding of something like this and your basic anatomy, you can do whatever you want with it, man. Whatever you want. Just give some quick impressions there of the membrane. Just throw in some little random, if you just throw in little random details like that, it kind of, same thing here. We'll just like that. I'll freak the spikes back there. But yeah, pretty simple. And then, you know, do whatever. Throw in whatever you want. Throw in whatever you want. Some little scale indentations there. You can put some spikes on the chin. There, you know, there, whatever you want. You can even do something cool with like the underbelly here. Instead of having it be like a smooth underbelly, we can do something to kind of make it look like it's armored. So we'll do that. Just kind of get like this, right? So where each of these go, just extend it out. Bring that out like that, right? So it's almost like this armored underbelly. And then just kind of erase a little bit of that. So it makes it look a little bit more intimidating, right? But yeah, study. Listen, look at other people's work. I'm not saying like, you know, copy people's stuff, but listen, we've all done it. Anybody who's become good at art, they've looked at somebody else's work and drawn it. Just don't ever like post it and claim it to be your own. Like that's all. But 100%, look at somebody else's artwork, draw it. Try to draw their whatever it is as best as you can, replicate it the exact same way they do it, and then you'll pick up tricks just from learning how to copy shit like that. We'll just put a little indication of the wing going behind here as well, and then just kind of shade it out. Like that. All right, and there you go. Basic, pretty straightforward European style dragon. Nothing crazy. Anybody can do this. You can do it. We can all do it. All right. But yeah. Hope you learned a little bit of something from this. My first time ever trying to teach somebody how to draw. So hopefully I did an okay job. All right. If you ever have any questions about art, anything you want to know, tips, tricks, things I do, things I've used for reference, ask me down in the comments below. I'll answer you as best as I can. Do me a solid, if you like the video, hit that like button for me. And if you're new here, subscribe to the channel so we can build this thing up. And I will do more videos like this in the future if you want me to, instead of just the time lapse. I'll do more tutorial type of things like this, step by step, showing you how I go about drawing. But yeah, that's it for me for today. And until next time, I'll see y'all later. Peace out.